continued security of the free world is dependent upon the combat readiness of its defense systems. The final answer to the effectiveness of those defense systems will come only when they are tested in the skies and battlefields of a war that may never happen. How then can the pilots, the missile men, the gunners, be certain when the time arrives, when their weapons are to be hurled against the aggressor, that they will function with the accuracy and effectiveness for which they were designed? Theoretical, simulation, and test-range firings under laboratory-controlled environments can give a partial answer to this question. Countless dry runs will develop techniques and strategies, but only when those weapons are deployed against a realistic target in a combat environment will they be proven. During the past 20 years, the free nations of Europe have developed defensive systems which have assured peace for 2 decades. However, several factors have prevented those systems from being tested in a realistic environment. Airspace over the continent of Europe is extremely limited for the deployment of anti-aircraft weapons. Population densities prohibit the firing of missiles except in rare instances. The cost of moving complete defense systems, including armament and personnel, over long distances for limited practice is often so high that only a small percentage of the units achieve adequate training. Permanent target installations which incorporate launchers, track and control stations, maintenance facilities, and support equipment are not only expensive, but land for these facilities is not available in areas where systems can be exercised. As a bold, new, comprehensive answer to the problem of providing economical training for the armed forces of Europe, Teledyne Ryan, in collaboration with its European partners, proposes the use of shipboard mobile target services. This concept is not without precedent, but has never been proposed on such a full scale as that planned by Ryan. Japan, faced with a similar problem, built a target ship Azuma, specifically to provide targets to the Maritime Self-Defense Force in the waters off Japan. Commissioned in August of 1971, the Azuma is capable of carrying 5 flight-ready Firebee targets. Targets are prepared and configured at a land-based operation in Kure, Japan, loaded aboard the Azuma, and launched for missile ships operating in offshore areas. Track and control of the Firebees is accomplished with the onboard equipment. Firebees can be controlled out to 75 miles with this equipment. Underway at sea, the targets are given a pre-flight check, then uploaded on the launcher. Upon receipt of word from the waiting fleet that the ships are ready, the Azuma launches the Firebees on a predetermined flight path. Direct communications with the user assures an on-station target. Mission completed, the Firebee is recovered in the near vicinity of the Azuma. Using her own ship's boat, the target is returned alongside the mothership and is hoisted aboard for decontamination. Since the inaugural flights were made in late 1971, all missions from the Azuma have been successful. The feasibility of mobile shipboard target services has been dramatically proven by the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force. Teledyne Ryan is exceptionally well qualified to conduct such a mobile service. During the past 20 years, the durable Firebee systems have been performing for defense weapons in all corners of the earth. From the sub-zero cold of Fort Greely in Alaska, to the tropical heat of the Panama Canal Zone, from the hostile environment of Vietnam to the shores of South Korea. Thousands of flights have been flown for the U.S. Navy and Marines at the Atlantic Fleet Weapons Range in Puerto Rico. The missile systems from many nations have operated against the Firebee in the desert of New Mexico. And the Air Force fighters from around the world convene to sharpen their skills in the skies over the Gulf of Mexico. More than 18,000 missions have been flown by the Firebee systems. Under the management of skilled Ryan crews, overall reliability of the system is in excess of 95%. It is performance such as this that has led to years of satisfied repeat customers. Launching the Firebee at sea is not a new concept. Teledyne Ryan crews have successfully performed this mission on several occasions for the U.S. Navy in Caribbean waters. One of the early launches was from the hulk of the U.S. destroyer Killen. Subsequent launches have been made from 65-foot air-sea rescue vehicles. The purpose of these flights was to simulate low-flying missile attacks. During these operations, both the Firebee and the launch boats were remotely controlled. Firebee systems have been launched from aircraft carriers at sea. The high subsonic speed envelope of the Firebee is a challenging test for all of the current missile systems. Capable of altitudes up to 60,000 feet, the Firebee operates in the environment where the action will take place. By installing the Teledyne Ryan-built radar altimeter, this target can penetrate below the radar screen, skimming the seas at 50 feet. There is no better target in existence to actually test the effectiveness of a low-altitude defense system. Installation of the improved maneuverability kit enables the Firebee to dogfight with the most skilled pilots. Pulling 5 Gs, it can execute turns at 350 knots with a radius of less than a half mile. In simulated combat exercises high over the Pacific Ocean, naval pilots have been hard-pressed to keep this elusive enemy within range of their guns and missiles. The Firebee target is the equivalent of a modern jet interceptor fighter without a man in it. It is not an inexpensive piece of military hardware. The key to an economical mobile service will be the ability of the target to survive and be reused. Survivability of the system has been proven over the years by the use of towed targets to attract the missiles, rather than firing directly at the target. Passive radar augmentation within the tow bee causes the Hawk and other radar-seeking missiles to see only the tow bee and to destroy it, rather than the Firebee. In addition to the high-intensity flares mounted on the wingtips, the Firebee can also tow an infrared source. On a short tow, the IR source will attract the missile, but from the cockpit or from the viewpoint of the missile man on the ground, the target appears to be the fast-moving Firebee. And to evaluate the accuracy of the men and missiles, scoring systems are available to measure the effectiveness of the shoot. To bring this versatile threat simulation to the countries of Europe, Teledyne Ryan studied numerous approaches and has elected the shipboard concept as the most economical method. A ship capable of operating in any open sea has been selected, with sufficient range to bring targets to your doorstep. This mobile system will be capable of providing targets for carrier-based air-to-air firings, ship-based anti-aircraft systems, and ship-to-air missiles. With adequate communications aboard, manned by the customer's own personnel, open sea operations can be conducted away from land-based interference with a very high degree of efficiency. For land-based aircraft operating from coastal airfields, the target ship can supply targets offshore, with aircraft being vectored into the firing range by their own ground intercept systems. By utilizing the ship for launch and recovery, track and control stations can be set up on the shore to exercise land-based anti-aircraft systems, such as automatic weapons, Hawk systems, IR weapons, and tank-mounted guns. As many as 15 presentations to the guns can be given on a single flight. For this concept to become a reality, participation by the free nations of Europe will be required. It is estimated that a requirement of 300 flights per year for a 2-year period must materialize to make the project economical. It is proposed that each nation purchase the services on a cost-per-flight basis. The cost of the services will be negotiated between Teledyne Ryan and the nation involved, will be based upon the type of mission desired, and the augmentation necessary to perform those missions. The Firebee can be configured to meet any missile requirement. With the ability to go where and when the weather is favorable, schedules can be made to cover the Mediterranean in the spring months, with appointments for the North and Baltic Seas during the summer. International scheduling should pose no major problem. Teledyne Ryan, in cooperation with its European partners, is offering a breakthrough to the problem of limited ranges with an economical service that will keep the defense forces of those nations razor sharp and ready to meet the threat. We accept the challenge of your missiles. You name the place and time.